recording. No, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minutes. Great to have you on board. And this morning, yeah, we were here. Internet goes down, and here's a chart of Comcast. And we had an outage here, an area outage here, and you notice that Comcast fell on the word that we had lost internet here. I wish I could show you a chart in a minute where it actually looked like it did fail. It just slightly went down today. But they got it back up in the area here. So there's a construction project down the street. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but anyways, we're back up and going here. Look at the futures here. The market off the lows, sold off this morning, 4 or 5 points, something like that, and then has slowly worked its way back. And we're down about two. There's about a point of fair value in there. If we look at the S&P here, it's down about three and a half right here. Off the lows, pushing up to the 18.5. Now, Jeff talked about this a little bit this morning, I believe, in chat when we were off. He got some tightening Bollinger Bands. They're crashing in on it here. Let me a little bit closer there for you. You can see how the Bollinger Bands, I can't draw very pretty, but kind of like that, coming in right here. So we got some tightening bands, and that just suggests some consolidation. And likely going to get that as more and more earnings come in and the market starts to absorb the announcements. Whether or not they're going to be good overall or weak overall or flat overall, the market's going to take that in consideration as we move forward here. So nothing bearish in these price movements at all. In fact, just a slower grind higher is very bullish. And AK, a little while ago, you mentioned someone was asking why you didn't want stocks to gap on it like an FCX. And yeah, you stated it just right. When stocks gap, all of what that does, gap and run, it just increases the odds of a little bit of a quicker pullback from day to day versus slow grinds higher, those odds go down. Okay, so yeah, nice work. And the S&P, it's not going to gap a whole lot. But these huge moves up, that again they can just the chance of it's not quite as strong as a move of these slow grinds higher, and so yeah, that's what we're going to take. This slow sideways days or slow or small down days, nothing bearish in nature for the market at all. Our two positions, all right, we got Bank of America down 7 cents. It's been there all day. It's been down 7-8 cents. 5 to 10 cents basically all morning long. Nothing really bearish here. It's holding 17. Nothing bearish. It's just taking a breather. It's outperforming a lot of the other financials. Goldman's Goldman's has rolled over today. They've taken a little bit more risk in their day-to-day operations. There's a couple other things that the market absorbed and decided they didn't like it. It sold off a little bit. Really, I think the financials, their spreadsheets, are looking good. It wasn't that bad of a report on Goldman's. In fact, it was up a little bit pre-market and it's just sold off a little bit. Citi, they missed. They missed. It wasn't as expected. It wasn't a huge miss, but they're down a little bit as well. Overall, I still feel the financials are going to be pretty stable going into this year. They're clearing up their balance sheets. The Fed's helped them out with that, and as the quarters go by, their balance sheets get more clear, and they're going to be able to make more profits. Okay, so yeah, while you guys are talking about it, let's look at Yahoo. Isn't that just nothing big? This is slow grind here, coming back down to 40. That's been the lower leg of the channel here for a few weeks now. The bands are even tightening a little bit today. If I scroll up here and go down, bands tighten a little bit. Yeah, you can look here and say there is some negative divergence. Now Yahoo, they announced earnings. I had it written down, if it's on my other notepad. Let's see when they announce. It's coming up January 28th. So Yahoo, yeah, it's just going to channel. One thing that can happen sometimes, it comes down, hits the lower band, and then it goes flying back up. But it's just looking like it wants to channel for a little while. And then Google. Today could get in a push. See if it can't hold this and jump up into the upper Bollinger Band. That would be a, a nice move here above the 1150 mark. That'd be a good move here for Google. All right, some of the stocks I've been looking at today, and I know I can't remember if anybody was in this. I think there was somebody in this, but very nice move here on Google. I mean, on LinkedIn, and got upgraded, price target lifted, and seeing a very nice run here on LinkedIn this morning. Okay, that's what I'm watching. This is it'd be a big chaser at this point. It's gone too far, too fast. It looks strong. It's probably going to continue up for a little while, but they get a long ways away from that seven like that. It's not a good thing. So let's look at Best Buy. Uh, Let me back up. When I said it's not a good thing, uh, all I meant was there's it just increases the odds of a pullback here, some consolidation coming back towards that seven. The option price is going to be a little bit overinflated here. It's just hard to set up the risk and reward. Where's your stop? How much further is it going to go after a move like this? It just the things change a little bit. Okay, so Best Buy, yeah, that wasn't a good thing today when Best Buy came out saying that well they missed all of their numbers for December. The holiday comps they fell a percent. They were downgraded. Um, it's just whenever companies do that, it's not a good thing. They missed their numbers. Estimates were lowered a little bit. I guess typically first quarter is not a good time of year for retails, anyways. Just a big sell-off. This is one of those as far as going forward. You gotta watch it and wait for some signs that this might start coming back. Yeah, it was really oversold this morning. It did get a bounce, but as far as thinking that this is the bottom, it's way too early. This would be one of those watch it and see where it's going to come. Watch and see where the lows finally settle down, where some support finally settles in, and then try to play a little bit higher. But even then, on a move higher there, I'd like a higher high and a higher low set in. That's going to give me some little bit of uh, a little bit more information that it's likely to start its way back up. But that could take a week or more for that to happen. It could go further down. It's tough to say on this move right here. It was pretty bearish what they did today. So they change. Whenever they're messing with earnings per share, that fundamental. This is a fundamental move. It's not really any type of a technical move at this point, anyway. Yeah. Slawic short Best Buy. Hopefully they were saying that yesterday, and they went out and did it. But at this point, shorting it, it's just too risky. As far as Amazon, this is the one I've been watching this stock. They have earnings on the 29th. They have earnings on the 29th. It's showing some bullishness today, coming off the 390, which has been the lower portion of the channel here today. So the channel's been basically between 390 and 400. Well, I'll give it 405, 410, something like that, right around here. There's the channel. It's coming off that pretty strong. It had a move like this. That's a pretty big line. Had a move very similar to today, not quite as bullish, but right here, a couple days ago on Tuesday. But today opens, runs lower, comes down here to the lower Bollinger Band today, pushing up off of it. If it pushes up over 400, there's a chance this might break out. Uh, I'd want a little bit more confirmation. It's pushed up here to that area before. This is one of the stronger candles that we've seen in this channel off the bottom like that. Watch the volumes. That might give you a little bit of indication if it's ready to break out. But very bullish candle. Uh, I'd still like it to push higher over this $400 level. That would be more confirmation that this thing's ready to move higher. You're looking at the indicators here. We've had some divergence going on here for a while. You look up here at the stochastics. You can see how it's been going down. Down below here, you look at the MACD, and you look at what the stock's been doing during the same time frame. When this started going down, the stock was actually trying to go higher, pushing higher. Okay, so a little bit of divergence here, but it doesn't. It's just a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of the divergence. Is not always a sign of a trend change. It's more of a sign of weakness. Uh, if it does break out of here and get up into that upper Bollinger Band, you might have a move going for you there. I'd probably wait for some kind of confirmation like that it's going to snap out of this channel. But they got earnings the 29th. It had to do it fairly fast. Boeing, it's not ready yet. And my joke here is not ready to take off quite yet, right? What you want to do here is you want to see if this thing, I'd like some confirmation that, get rid of that. All right, let's try that again. I want some confirmation here that this is going to, I like, if I can get a candle like that, then I got a better entrance signal. And that would be a hollow candle, not a big, something like that would be great confirmation. Hey, this thing's ready to run. You get something like that. These little small moves like this, it's not going above the 7, it's just staying below. Even a tiny move above it wouldn't be in much strength. If you can get a move that clears the highs from over in this range, maybe into that lower Bollinger Band, then you got something. I mean, the upper Bollinger Band, then you got something that this thing's ready to go higher. At this point, just not any strength in there yet. A little bit more confirmation is what I'd be looking for to get back into Boeing. AMCC, nice move here. Looks like they got some kind of news today. Maybe it was earnings. Sorry, I didn't catch this one this morning. January 23rd, so there had to be some other news out on today. 16th. Maybe Kramer said something, or Fast Money. I don't know, but there's obviously some kind of news out on today. Usually, when you see a stock gap like that on big time volume, it's normally news. Maybe you know what that is, but at this point, it's gone too far too fast. If I'm in a trade, I couldn't argue taking some of the gains right here. You got an implied volatility spiked in here for you. If you got some calls, it just jumped today. Got a nice little gain out of there. As far as trying to find an entrance today, it's too far above the 7, and these gaps always, for me, they throw the technicals for a little while. I'd want to let it run up, make its move, and then look for a little bit of a pullback, and then look to get in on the pullback and a push up off the 7. That's the type of action I'd like to see to jump in. Bullish here. Bearish, it'd be way too early, right? Gapping up, and hopefully you'd just be hoping for a pullback after a gap like that, and it's not enough reason for me to want to get in. There we go. Google, it's making a move. It looks like it's at the highs of the day. So yeah, let's just let this thing keep running. The Container Store. So it just came out here, IPO'd here in November, and for me, it's just tough. There's not enough technical action here to try to predict anything here. As far, and we can look at an RSI and it's going down. You can see some divergence here, but how has that done in the past for the stock? How has the stock performed in the past? We just don't have that kind of information. Um, you could also say, well, it's been holding 38, not selling below 38 yet. It's not really getting above 40 either, so it's trapped in a little channel right there. The technicals, they wouldn't be enough for some big time some larger confirmation on some type of moves like this. Yeah, it's likely to break out here in the next little while. I could say that. If it breaks to the downside, it's likely to capture more downside. A break to the upside here over 40 would probably take it up here towards 44, and that's just basic candlestick action from what I'm seeing here. Okay. APC, a little bit of a pullback today, 59 cents. It's off the lows. Watch it. Watch and see where it closes today. Uh, the stop was down here around 80. This was a top three from Tuesday on this trend rider bull signal here. Up a little bit. There's just a little bit of profit taking. Notice how light the volumes are today. If I zoom in on that, very light volumes, which really speaks volumes that there's nobody really wanting to sell it. The buyers just aren't stepping in. But watch it towards the close and see if it can't run higher into the close. Even a close right here, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Very light volume. If it did pull down towards 80 pretty hard this afternoon, that would be a little bit more reason to get a little bit worried about it. But right here, there's nothing. I don't see anything really changing the technicals there. And Monsanto, uh, thing about Monsanto is when I put this on my top three yesterday, and it was up here towards the highs of the day. It looked like a nice breakout, and then right at the last probably 45 minutes, 30 minutes of the day, this thing sold off right back down to the 7. I don't like that technical action like that of a sell. It's just going flat. If you happen to get into this, just watch it. I'd probably put the 112 as my stop, but that sell into the close. And I try to get those top threes as close to the close, and I try to remind everybody if they do sell off towards the close, back down to those areas, it decreases the odds that it's ready to break and run higher. It doesn't really change. We still got an uptrend intact here. It's just saying, all right, it's not ready to go today. And it's just down slightly, so there's no bearishness here. It might be another day or two before this thing does start to run higher because the uptrend's still intact. And remember, trends in motion are more likely to continue than they are to reverse. All right. MYGN, yeah, very nice push. I don't know if you're in this trade. What big run off the bottom here. We talk about how stocks tend to fill the gaps. Well, here's a big gap from 24 to 21 overnight, and it's rallied back to more than fill the gap. It's had some strong volumes here. Volumes have stepped off a little bit at this point. But if you happen to be in this trade, I couldn't argue taking gains. It's had a huge run for you. If I don't know if where you got in or what, but if you're looking to enter, no, you got to let this settle back down. You got to let that 7 get closer here and see if you can get a pullback, let the 7 catch up with it, and then start to move higher is what you'd look at it. No entrance here. I no, I would never, personally, I wouldn't go out and short something like this either. It's more of I think that this is bound to pull back type of mentality, which you can do all right on those. You see stocks that are really oversold or really overbought, they're bound to pull back, and you can do fine in those trades. I like a little bit more technical confirmation. All right, New Skin. Yeah, that's major. This stock has been cut in half, down 38% today. Ouch. The owners are a little bit less wealthy this morning. Doesn't hurt them too bad, believe me. Uh, well, the founders, I'll say. It's a public company now, but the founders. But yeah, my crystal ball. I didn't catch that one. Dang it. Yeah, some news out of China where the Chinese authorities are investigating them, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday. It's getting some more bad publicity today. Now, if they don't find anything here, then get ready. The stock's ready to run, but you wouldn't want to touch this now. You could try, if you want to do a lotto, very, very small contracts. That's what it'd be, something that you're willing to lose. But this could be one that could just come back big time if uh, whatever they're looking, the investigations turn out to be wrong, right? And I forgot to bring this up yesterday. We've got a retired airline pilot in one of our members here. He flew Boeing Airlines practically his whole career. And yesterday I was, we were talking about Boeing and that little smoke fire, little smoke that came out of the battery, and I was thinking, okay, well, it's a mechanic on the ground and a little bit of smoke, no big deal. But he reminded me, no, smoke is a big deal. If you're flying 30,000 feet in the air and you smell smoke, that's a big deal. And that's a big deal. I mean, it totally. I never thought of that. So then, great for thanks for chiming in. Let me know about that. So yeah, that's a huge deal for a Boeing on that little bit of smoke. So yeah, smoke can lead to fire or the fire already going on, right? So very scary for that type of things. And thanks, Joyce. We'll keep our eyes there on Boeing. Dollar Tree. Yeah, there you go. Nice. So this is a trend rider bear signal. Now you got to watch that level right there into the close. It's a little bit of ways away from the 7. Not too bad. Notice this started with some heavy selling. We'd have to check to see when they announce any type of earnings right through this area. Make sure that let me go check that. Dollar Tree. So they announced in November, so it's not likely going to be till third week of February or something. Just a rough sketch there of when it's likely to be, but not typically anytime soon. So what's going on here? You watch this 55 area. That's been past support for it. It's been channeling a little bit. Overall, the 55 area is held the last 2 days. The last 2 days up here. A break of this today and into that lower Bollinger Band, and if it holds this level, trend rider bear signal, it's likely to drop down here. I think one of the bigger levels is going to be right around 53. If I look at 54, kind of right through this area, right around here. But overall, there's not much there. The bigger level is 53 for it. And this would be a trade if it gets into there and starts to run down. You get a nice little gain. I'm never opposed to taking those off. Home Depot. Hey, Blake. What's going on, man? Good to see you out there. I go to Chesapeake. I'm sorry. Go to Home Depot. Talk about Blake, and then I skip his question. That's pretty rude. Watch Home Depot. It's starting to set up for a move here. What it's doing, it's holding that 81 level. 81 right through here. It's got down there the last 3 days. One, two, three. Has not been able to go underneath that. So it's showing some pretty. Actually, 4 days it's got here at the 81 level, and you can look back even further during this time frame up here and see it's hit it over there. So it appears to be a pretty big level for it. That level breaks, then off we go. Probably come down here towards 80, that lower Bollinger Band as well. But if this level can hold and you see a candle coming up out of there over the 7, looking something like that, it's probably on the next run higher. Is what you'd be looking, something around those range. Probably go up to the mid 80s. The upper Bollinger Bands there are going to be around 82.5, so it probably come up to about upper Bollinger Band and not consolidate around that for a little while. But that's what you'd be looking for if you're thinking of going long on Home Depot. If it breaks, 82 breaks, you can also look at it this way too and say, hey, it's got a bit of a flag pattern or a descending wedge pattern, which can be reversal. So watch it carefully. But where this 81 level is holding, odds are saying then it's likely to break higher. But let it show it to you. Don't jump in ahead of time because it could come down too. You could also say, well, you got a flag pattern there too. And if you take the distance between where the breakout started, so I'd put it at 80 to where it ended, 82.5, it's saying it could run another $2.50 up from the where it breaks out. So that would put it up there towards about the 85, 84, 83.50, 85 level, somewhere in between that range right there. So watch it, let it confirm that it is going to go up before just jumping in on calls here. Thanks, Blake. All right, so looking here at Chesapeake, and I've got this one written down as a stock to watch today, but it might be a little bit early. If I put in the vibes here, we've got a couple of the averages rising, the 50s coming down on it. Is the 50 a decent level of support or resistance? It's okay. It kind of danced around it all through here, end of November, December. You got a strong bounce today. What I'd want to see, so we're right back to this level, about 25.5. It's hit this level before, bounced off of it. A break of this level could drop it probably down towards it. Well, there's a decent, could be a level right here at 24.5, maybe another dollar or so, or that 200-day moving average. But it's a nice breakout here. I might need a little bit more confirmation that it's ready to run. It might just take off. It's got the 50 there. Last time it made a move off the level, it did go up to the 50. It got through it eventually, but you could get something like that. What did I do? Not a bad looking. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's better signals out there, or as far as more technicals given direction. This is likely to run up for you off this lower band, lower channel right here. But as far as the signals telling me to get in right here, they're there as far as strong candlestick action. But other than that, not a lot of technical indicators saying jump in. As far as the like a trend rider or a vibe or some of the other candlestick type patterns, this is just candlestick action, looking bullish, looking price action. Does that make sense? Yeah, Trader Curl. I don't think Nu Skin's going to be up there at number two anymore at Investors Business Daily. The news out on Best Buy, they missed their holiday comps. The holiday comps, they missed their holiday comps pretty big compared to last year. They were off. And they also, of course, a downgrade came in on that as well, but the downgrade came in after the news that Best Buy came out and the comps fell were a lot worse than what they were a year ago today, during the month of December, the 5 week period. Not ACP. You ever done that? You type in it, you do a typo, and all of a sudden you come across a stock that, hey, that's a nice looking stock. I've done that occasionally, not too often, but I found stocks that way. Um, yeah, a little bit lighter traded stock here on ACP. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? AXP, American Express. And let's look at this. So on American Express, got all the averages rising. Okay. Now it's not a true signal, but you don't always need these. If you get a strong push off this bottom, a lot of these strong pushes, and we've looked at this before, these strong pushes off the bottom, you can't see that. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Maybe you can get that. You don't always get the MACD coming up with it on those the bigger pullbacks on the next leg up on these stocks that go up and have a pullback for a week and a half, 2 weeks or so before the next run higher, and that's what this is doing. So what you want to look for here, all the averages are rising. You want this thing to push up and over that $88 level. It's coming up here. It's got some follow through off of a nice looking gravestone doji there, which is a reversal pattern off of a downtrend like this, a reversal, and it's getting the follow through. Now it's up there at that 7-day moving average. And what you want to do is push up out of that area. If you get a little volume back in the move, it'd be great. You don't always need it, but look at this little move over here. Kind of similar. Well, let me get rid of that and show you on that day right there. Very similar price action here from this area right here. You notice it pulls back and then works its way back to the 7. You got a day kind of like today where it tried to get through, it couldn't hold it, and then the next day you get that push. Now just because it did it here doesn't mean it's going to do it here. But I'd look for that type of price action here. And if you get it, and if you get some higher volumes like we got on this day, it puts the odds in your favor that this thing's ready to break and run. How high could it go? It might slow down a little bit around that $90 level, but look at you notice the higher lows. They keep coming in here, higher lows, higher highs. So odds are it's going to get through that 90 level here if you get this type of action. If it starts to break down below about 87, then it might head the other direction. But right now it's a pretty strong looking setup that this thing wants to run back up there towards the highs. So watch it, be a little bit patient with it, and see if it works out to be like it was last time around, just back in December. So, and that's, I'll put that on my radar as things to look for. Oh, thanks, Lowbird. Yeah, that changes everything. If it's got earnings tomorrow, then it can be on the radar, but don't trade it. Yeah, well, so it's got earnings today, according to FinViz here, January 16th after the bell. So if it's there tomorrow, it could throw this whole thing off, and it could be on my radar, and the technicals, the fundamentals are going to overrule any type of a technical type of action you're going to get. So this is going to depend. If it doesn't make any type of dramatic move, then it could still set up for that. But you look back at October. So what I'll always do, just really quickly, is I'll look back and say, all right, well, how has it been in the past earnings season? And so they're announcing what, 2 weeks in, and so here we are in October. Maybe about 3 weeks in here. This is likely an earnings announcement right there. And so I would look in July, another earnings period. This is likely one here. What gives these away also is I could go look at the dates, but I can find them on charts just as easy if the company's volatile around earnings. So it's likely those two dates right there. Here was a big reaction to the downside. Here, a big reaction to the upside. It's likely to have a pretty decent reaction. Doesn't mean it has to, because it's done in the past, but this is one with a little bit more volatile around earnings, where you might get a bigger move out of it one direction or another, and you just don't know. Just don't know at this. Yeah, SPM, earnings next week on FCX. Yep, and this was a trade we plan on getting in. We were only going to be in it a few days or so. We're likely to be up before earnings. It'd be interesting hold over earnings. I'll tell you that. Be an interesting hold, but it's just trading fairly flat. Okay, let me. I've been missing some chats here, so let me go here to BlackBerry. So BlackBerry, I gotta look at earnings. And if you guys, December 20th, so that's already out of the way. That's right. Research in Motion, they typically will announce 1 or 2 weeks prior to a new quarter. So we're looking at price action here. And what we're looking for here, you see how it gets a long ways away from the 7 as it's stepping up here. It gets away from the 7. And just recently, the price target was lifted. Was it today or yesterday? It was lifted here by Goldman's to $8. And here's the stock trading at 8.5. But hey, it's lifted, so it's not down where it was before, and it's making some ground for some strong technical action here, what you'd want here is a push up over the highs, get out of this little range it's in, back up off that 7. If you can get some volumes with that, that'd be great. But it looks, so far we've got, here's the bottom, and then you got a higher low, higher high, and then a higher low locked in there, hopefully. And that's the price action to be looking for, that it's ready to run up the next leg. How far could it go? Well, it gets through 9, 10. And that's a 10% move, right? It's over 10%. So that'd be a nice move. You got into trade line. So watch it and see if you get that type of price action. That's what I'd be looking for. Today, it's just flat. It's nothing, very low volume, just flat. It's nothing bearish. I'd be looking for a stronger push higher. And you maybe get it tomorrow, maybe early next week. That's what you'd be looking for there. Yeah, Joyce, I'd avoid shorting it unless I got some stronger signals, some stronger bearish signal that this thing's ready to come down. Because so far it's higher highs, higher lows. I mean, it'd have to break below. I'd probably give it $8, $8 level before I got too bearish on it. Right now, there's more bullish signs than there are bearish. Agilent. Hey, I hope you got in this trade. Nice breakout right over here. See, you got all the averages rising. This is vibe bull. All the averages rising. You might have tried to anticipate it the day before that arrow there. It's not getting out over the highs, but there you go. A little bit of consolidation and then off and running. So it's up there at that $60 level. Those multiples of 10 tend to be the biggest, psychological barriers for the market. It's above it, got above it yesterday, and today's just flat. It's holding the level. It's a bullish move for it. The volumes are light, and notice the volumes on most things today are a little bit light. Just not a lot of buying in the market, not a lot of sellers. It's overall kind of just a flat day in the stock market. But it's, to see 60 hold, if it gets up over 60, if you're looking for an entrance here, watch for these days like this. If it closes like this and maybe slightly down within the next day or two, and then that 7 catches up with it and pushes back up off of it, kind of like over in this range where it gets a long ways away from it, consolidates to it. That day right there, not a bad looking signal. It took a while, but it ended up running, and that's what you'd be looking for. Something like this gets above the 7. It's not too far above it. I'd be chasing a little bit here, and where you got a doji around a multiple of 10, there's some odds saying it could consolidate a little bit at this range. Nothing bearish, but that's what I'd be looking for. I'm looking for an entry. Give it a day or two and see if it can't catch up there. Hey, nice. Nice here on BAX, Richard. So watch this one. The indicators are rising. You can see this MACD. Let me zoom out a little bit. They've been going up. Well, you can't see all the MACD, but trust me, it's going up, and you can see rising up here the rate of change. It's been consolidating. It gets up there to that 70, those multiples of 10. It gets up there. Now look at yesterday. That's a Dragonfly Doji. It's down of a little bit of a drop. They've had a couple. Here's another dragonfly, but notice the placement of the dragonflies. This one's towards the top, which is suggesting weakness. This one's toward a little bit of a bottom, which is suggesting strength. And they're working. That one worked. Today, this is getting some follow through. The thing I like about this action, this closes up here towards the highs. It's a nice signal. The volumes are light, but so is most things today. But watch it towards the close. If it closes up here towards the highs, out of this recent high that we've seen, right about this level, right through there. Even if it doesn't, it's a nice strong signal. If it closes towards the highs, it just gives a little bit more odds that it's ready to run. But this price action today, this move down below, and then run higher up through that 70 level, up towards the 70.5 level, is a pretty bullish that this thing might be ready to run to the next level. It could go up here. This isn't going to be a huge mover. It could go up There's a little bit right through here. So it could run about another 70, 80 cents to a dollar above. It's going to catch a little bit of this right through there, likely. So yeah, I like the signal. It's a strong signal. It's not a trend rider, a true trend rider, or a vibe. It's close. The 100's still kind of going flat. The 200's a little bit flat, but you can see the indicators rising. Really, the odds are saying that this thing's ready to go up, even if it's not a true trend rider. Everything's saying that this is likely to run higher. Check the announcement, check the earnings, right? And sometimes I'll just review them without checking it. So this is the 23rd, so it'd be a little bit of time in that, but ahead of earnings, pretty bullish price action. Oh yeah, Richard, I hear you with BlackBerry. Rumors of them, they were trying. They were on the out for sale. They're probably still for sale. No buyers. One company was a long time ago. A company was thinking of doing it. Didn't work out the deal. It got stuck on that. And then the questions came into play about the assets. In case they do go under, the assets were worth more than what the stock price was down at that $6 range. And so that's why it's coming off a bottom here. Not there's any huge news that their phones are starting to sell big time again, rather than their assets were worth more than what the stock value was at the time. And so it's come off a bottom. But you'd need some strong, I'd agree, Richard, yeah, but you'd need a strong bullish confirmation that this thing's ready to run that next leg up. That's what you'd be looking for. And it would maybe a little bit more of an aggressive trade. There could be news out on them. I haven't heard a whole lot about them recently. They used to be in the news all the time, and the stock was doing nothing but go down. Nothing but go down, and price targets lowered and downgraded, and it was just one thing after another. But and then somebody came out with the article of their assets and how much those were worth. That's a way to do it, huh, Richard? Just slowly start buying it up at those low levels, rather than to buy the company out for $10. Just start buying a bunch of their stock, and then offer less, right? Okay, everybody, I'll be on chat with you. Yeah, I'll be on chat with you throughout the rest of the day. Josh is here as well. I'm going to pop off here and go look at my top three. I've got a big list here. I've showed you a lot of them, but see what else is what's looking good into the close today. Okay, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.